Om. 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 Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Eva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Twameva Mata Charpita Twameva Twameva bandhuscha sakha Twameva Twameva Vedyadravinam Twameva Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Twameva sarvam mama deva deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So where are we in our text?
We're in chapter 64 on page 267, where the questioner says, "Where am I to get the courage to act without conviction?"
Yep.
Okie dokie smoky.
Questioner. Where am I to get the courage to act without conviction? Maharaj. Love will give you the courage. When you meet somebody holy, admirable, love-worthy, sublime, your love and admiration will give you the urge to act nobly. Questioner. Not everybody knows to admire the admirable. Most people are totally insensitive. Maharaj. Life will make them appreciate. The very weight of accumulated experience will give them eyes to see. When you meet a worthy man, you will love and trust him and follow his advice. This is the role of realized people, to set an example of perfection for others to admire and love. Beauty of life and character is a tremendous contribution to the common good.
Now let me stop here. Does that mean that the woman or the man of knowledge can't make a mistake? Is not omniscient? Yes and no. The mark of Astita Prajna, the person of steady wisdom, is they've silenced in their minds the screaming voices of raga and dvesha. They no longer have agendas in life. They act spontaneously. I like to say the person of steady wisdom is out of control. Does that mean that they may not inadvertently do something that may offend another person? Of course they might. You know, Might they forget an appointment? Yes. Might they inadvertently push someone's buttons? Probably. But even that has a perfection to it. It was supposed to happen. Do you know how I know that?
Does it happen?
Because it did. So I can remember an interaction with Swamiji. I was just listening at this time, and there was a fellow who was a long time devotee of Swamiji, as was his wife. And he was saying that, he was having a hard time because for the past decade, his wife had chosen to no longer have sex. She wanted to practice brahmacharya. And Swamiji's response was, I did not know that. What she's doing is incorrect. She has a duty. And, it just revealed something. Swamiji could not know stuff. Every human mind is finite. Now, a lot of spiritual romantics will say, oh, he was just saying that, and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if this is true about Amaji, if people have all sorts of romantic ideas about it, which may or may not be true. But that doesn't mean the equipment of the person of steady wisdom as it moves through life may not say or do things that upset other people. By and large, they are not afraid of the world, and the world is not afraid of them. And you have to see this subtly. I can remember there was this one woman at a camp, and she was convinced that Swamiji was the devil. Oh, he looks like the devil. Now, that was just her imagination. But I don't know what Swamiji might have said or behaved in a way that was off-putting to her. You never know. So let me give you the suggestion that Swamiji gave us. He would say, if you cannot see who I am, then treat me as a mouthpiece for the scriptures. Do not get involved with my personality. And I took that to heart. I didn't get caught up in wanting his approval or his ideas about this, that, and the other thing. I loved him, but I was there for the knowledge. And that intention kept my relationship with him very pure. And when he said, if you cannot see who I am, I had an interview last week with a fellow who does podcasts. I'm not too familiar with podcastery as a form, but it's spiritual stuff. So one of the questions he asked me was I devastated when my guru died? And I says, well, no, because he didn't go anywhere. And I talked about how in the beginning, of course, he was that Indian man with the orange robes that I couldn't understand because his accent was so heavy. And later on, he was so eloquent until I realized he was just quoting Shankara with updated metaphors. But very soon I could learn to tune into him, tune up to him. And after a while, way off in the corner is this body going blah, 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 blah. And there was this thunderous silence that was so full, Purnam, of being, of presence, of stillness. Well, that's who he was. And then I'd come home and it'd all fall away. And then he would say, use the Guru. Wherever I am in the world, tune into me, trump the mind. So after a while, all I had to do was think of him and my mind would go. And then I eventually learned, oh, it's a trick. That's my mind abiding in the cell. But I like to say to people, if we have these moments in class when our minds get so still and tuned up, and we experience that thunderous presence, the thunder of silence. There's a piece of me that always wants to say, meet Swamiji, because he's gone nowhere. And so I said to this fellow who was doing the interview, what is there to grieve about? So the invitation is always, do not get involved with the personality. If you cannot see who the teacher is, then treat them as a mouthpiece for the scriptures. Do what they suggest. Very important teaching. Now, did that mean I didn't hang out with Swamiji? I never really had any one-on-one time with him. I didn't care. But I always enjoyed being with him. It was funny. Any thoughts? Next, going on.
Questioner. Must we not suffer to grow? Maharaj, it is enough to know that there is suffering, that the world suffers. By themselves, neither pleasure nor pain enlighten. Only understanding does. Once you have grasped the truth that the world is full of suffering, that to be born is a calamity, you will find the urge and the energy to go beyond it.
So let's stop there. It is theoretically possible for us to unfold spiritually through inspiration, through the love and the yearning for God. However, it's not very common. Most of us grow as a response to our suffering. When we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then we develop the motivation to want to do something about it. And the clearest paradigm for this that I've ever found is what we learn in the 12-step programs. So, for example, in AA, there's this idea that nobody gets sober without hitting bottom. It's where the suffering of being a drunk, what is the term? The pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization, where that is stronger than one's desire to get loaded. Now, some people come in because they had a terrible fight with their spouse. Not everybody quits drinking because they're lying in a gutter on 6th Street in San Francisco. So we don't have to hit rock bottom suffering ourselves. When we can see the process, we can begin to turn the other direction out of inside. Now, what's Maharaj talking about here? What's it feel like to want something you don't have? Or to want to get rid of something you don't like? Or buy a fear. I have what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. I project my suffering into the future. We can put physical pain on the shelf. In the end, that's the same, but let's say, if you get your leg cut off, that's a different kind of suffering. The kind of suffering that yoga talks about is all in my mind. And ego tells me I'm upset because I'm not getting what I want. And yoga said, oh no, you're suffering because you think what you want is real. And your happiness is separate from you. And the pain is in the longing itself. You made it all up. But that insight can take lifetimes to dawn on the mind. Even when we've done long meditation retreats, even when we've been in the ashram with the guru, still that insanity can come to my mind. It's amazing how powerful Maya is. Any thoughts on this? If I have the deep insight into the cause of my suffering, I develop vairagya, that desire to be free from attachment and identification. Well, isn't that another desire? Yeah, but it's a desire that gets rid of desire. It's incredibly important. Shankara will use the metaphor of the kataka nut powder. Have we talked about that in this class before?
Not recent.
Have you heard about this?
No.
So in old-timey days, especially in the South, when the monsoons would come, it would wash silt into the rivers. So when the ladies would come down to the tanks, to the rivers, the lakes, to get water, to take it back to their homes, to the village, it would not be potable. It would have silt in it. So what they would do is they would take the fruit of the kataka nut, and then they would pound it in a mortar and pestle, and they would put that into the jars where the silted water was that was suspended. And it did something to the surface tension of the silt, and it would all clump and then get heavy and then sink to the bottom. I've been told in modern times they use alum to do the same thing. Then they would decant the pure water into another jar. So what do you do if there's silt in the water? Oh, you add more dirt, but a special dirt. A dirt that gets rid of dirt. So who here puts their dirty clothes into the washing machine and then you add more dirt called detergent? Isn't that what we do? But the detergent has the special quality of being able to loosen the dirt that's in the clothes, and they both get rinsed away. So our mumuktutva, our burning desire for freedom, for moksha, for liberation, is a special kind of desire. First of all, it's a desire for something real, not something that's false, it's mithya, illusory. Over and over and over again, I think, I want people, places, things, and conditions. What I really want is Krishna. I'm just stupid. Don't realize. Any thoughts on this? Going on.
Once you have grasped the truth that the world is full of suffering, that to be born is a calamity, you will find the urge and the energy to go beyond it.
Okay, let me just add one more thing. What is the body? The body is an instrument for the garnering of experience and the satisfaction of desire. That's why you and I mocked up the body. That's what it is. Now, ultimately, it's an instrument for the realization of the self. But we are compelled, impelled into a body, lifetime after lifetime. Well, maybe this will be better. Let me try this. And that notion keeps going on through every lifetime. How many times have you moved from one living situation to another? How many times have you gone from this job to that job? How many times have you changed this relationship for that relationship? Always thinking, well, that didn't work. Let me try something different. And that's all it ever is different. And what Maharaj thunders, worldly happiness and suffering are the same thing. If I'm attached and I think my happiness is in the world, I will suffer. Any thoughts? Going on.
Pleasure puts you to sleep, and pain wakes you up. If you do not want to suffer, don't go to sleep. You cannot know yourself through bliss alone, for bliss is your very nature. You must face the opposite, what you are not, to find enlightenment.
Yeah. Very clear. Going on.
Chapter 65. A quiet mind is all you need. A quiet mind is all you need. All else will happen rightly once your mind is quiet. As the sun on rising makes the world active, so does self-awareness affect changes in the mind. Inner energies wake up and work miracles without any effort on your part. Questioner.
So let me stop there. So this is one of the differences between the Raja Yoga tradition and the Jnana Yoga tradition. In the Raja Yoga tradition, through pranayama, through asana, we deliberately wake up and move the energies in the mind and body. In Jnana Yoga, we seek the self. And then, as a result, spontaneously, energies awaken. And you don't need to understand them even. It's natural. Going on.
Questioner. I am not well. I feel rather weak. What am I to do? Maharaj. Who is unwell? You or the body? Questioner. My body, of course. Maharaj. Yesterday you felt well. What felt well? Questioner. The body. Maharaj. You were glad when the body was well, and you are sad when the body is unwell. Who is glad one day and sad the next day? Questioner. The mind. Maharaj. And who knows the variable mind? Questioner. The mind. Maharaj. The mind is the knower. Who knows the knower? Questioner. Does not the knower know itself? Maharaj. The mind is discontinuous. Again and again it blanks out, like in sleep or swoon or distraction. There must be something continuous to register discontinuity. Questioner. The mind remembers. This stands for continuity.
Ah, okay. So what's the date today? The 4th, the 5th?
Fifth.
5th of November of 2025. What were you doing on the 5th of November, 2015?
I know what I was doing.
What?
I do know, but it's unusual to know.
What about the
Ask me another date and I wouldn't know.
5th of December?
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, do you know what you're doing on the 5th of December of 2015?
No.
Yeah. But did you cease to exist? So memory is not what maintains existence. So people think, well, I was born in such and such a year, and my earliest memory is like at 4 or maybe 2. That's when I came into existence. No, that's just the further back you can remember. But we've just proven that memory is not a proof of existence. There's a whole lot of time in even this one life that we don't remember. But not once have we ceased to be. Going on.
Maharaj. Memory is always partial, unreliable, and evanescent. It does not explain the strong sense of identity pervading consciousness, the sense I am. Find out what is at the root of it. Questioner. However deeply I look, I find only the mind. Your words, beyond the mind, give me no clue. Maharaj. While looking with the mind, you cannot go beyond it. To go beyond, you must look away from the mind and its contents. Questioner: in what direction am I to look? Maharaj: all directions are within the mind. I am not asking you to look in any particular direction. Just look away from all that happens in your mind and bring it to the feeling I am. The I am is not a direction. It is the negation of all direction. Ultimately, even the I am will have to go, for you need not keep on asserting what is obvious. Bringing the mind to the feeling I am merely helps in turning the mind away from everything else.
So let me frame it a little bit differently. I have a nose. I have my toes. I have feelings. I have thoughts. These are all objective cognitions. Do I have awareness? I can be aware of my nose. I can be aware of my toes. Is there awareness one that illumines awareness two? Well, what illumines awareness one? Awareness minus one? You get a regressus ad infinitum with that. You do not have awareness. You are aware. It's constant. But as Maharaj says, if we turn our attention away from knowable things, the pristine nature of pure awareness, of Baba being, becomes evident. It's always there. Going on.
Wait, if we turn our attention away from knowable things,
Yes.
like you mean like objects, or what do you mean?
Objects, feelings, thoughts, even the ego sense. Disregard
Oh, knowable in the sense of like,
objective phenomena.
yeah, okay.
Subject, object. Is that clearer?
Yeah.
Okay, going on.
Questioner: where does it all lead me? Maharaj: when the mind is kept away from its preoccupations, it becomes quiet. If you do not disturb this quiet and stay in it, you find that it is permeated with a light and a love you have never known. And yet you recognize it at once as your own nature. Once you have passed through this experience, you will never be the same man again. The unruly mind may break its peace and obliterate its vision, but it is bound to return, provided the effort is sustained, until the day when all bonds are broken, delusions and attachments end, and life becomes supremely concentrated in the present.
So, in Viveka Chudamani, one of my favorite verses, 267. Even after realization of the truth, when we have these glimpses into the infinite, there exists a strong impression that one is the doer and the enjoyer, this karta, which he says is the cause for rebirth. That means I re-identify as Jim or Aditi or Natasha. And he says this needs to be conscientiously removed through steady and continuous identification with the self. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded, drop it. I'm to give up all notions of self, starting with the body, up to and including the form of Brahma, the creator, Shankara says. Meaning I think I'm some non-physical being, I'm a spirit roaming around in the ethers, or I'm just a powerful person. Listen carefully. It also means if you think I'm an enlightened person, you think you're an enlightened person, you're still a fool. The mark of the Stita Prajna, the person of steady wisdom, is they know they're Brahman, that ground of being, that empty consciousness. And along with that, they know everybody else is too. There's no sense of being special. Other people may think you're special, but then people thought Judy Garland was special. Well, I did. You are Brahman. Knowing that brings peace to the mind. Now, what other people think of me is none of my business. Don't get involved. Going on.
I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I, this is actually the rub for me with taking like, when I look at what are the steps that are blocking me in terms of my business. It's my like money-making business. It's literally like, there's some, limiting beliefs related to money, and there's like, some insecurities in this way, but like, and there's some tech, lack of knowledge in the tech world that I need. But then there's this like deep down below, or all of that is that I've renunciated in a lot of ways. And then if I'm aiming for what you're just describing, then I feel like I can't take a step forward. But like, it's like one thing maybe if you already had a job and you were an employee and you're aiming for this and you're just kind of keep going like that, maybe that would feel different. But when there's a business to actually develop, which takes time and energy and motivation, which is what I've done in the past. And then I like hit a wall in this realm, and then lost my motivation because I lost my sense of identity with what I'm doing. And which was very strong. I'm not saying it's all gone, but it's largely gone. And so then, even though it's a helping service oriented field where I can, anybody coming along, I'm helping them. So there's this, that's aligned with the path, but it's still, in order to make a living at it in this world, I have to make, like, there have to be some significant efforts to it, to have the word out, to da 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 da. And then there's this description that I'm aiming for, and I just find it all completely unmotivating. And not in the sense of like, I'm not a lazy person, I'm an extremely hard worker. I'm not trying to avoid anything.
I get it.
I'm just
I
trying
get
to do it differently than I did it before. And since I've never done that, I don't know how.
First of all, you've got to be open to the possibility that this particular career is over.
I'm open to that.
And all you can do, only thing I can tell you, because I've gone through this too. All right, Lord, I have to pay the rent. I'm not a sadhu living in a cave in the Himalayas. Tell me where you want me to go.
Yeah.
Be open to anything.
I've been doing that.
And then
Patience is.
today, what can you do today to be of service? I don't know, but you can find that out. Now, were you able to pay the rent on the 1st of November?
Mhm,
Okay. Do you have food at home?
mhm.
Okay. Any body parts fall off this morning?
No,
Okay. Uh, God, she's done her job. You're taken care of today.
I think I have this strong, I have not let go of the strong sense of being of service, like of making use of my time and energy and,
You can always find some way to be useful.
yeah.
Go work in a food bank. God knows we've got people who are hungry.
Mhm.
There's always a place.
There's always a place, but it doesn't.
Go to the Berkeley Free Clinic and give people massage. There's always a place to be of service. Sit at a bus stop and talk to little old ladies. What I do. But nothing in this world is permanent. Everything changes.
Mhm.
Careers end. I mean, the church I used to work at, St. Augustine, at one time in the 60s, it was the largest and wealthiest parish in the Oakland Diocese. Then they decided to build the I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Holy Spirit. The big kind of it looks like a Wagner opera set church right next to UC. Half the parish was split off and went there. Then all of a sudden, the Rockridge neighborhood changed. It used to be Irish and Italian. And then all of a sudden, it became African American. African Americans are mostly Protestants. There's some Catholic African Americans, but most of them are not. They're Protestants. So it plummeted in its attendance. And then the bishop brought a rainmaker priest, to try to plump it up, Ray Solosinski. That's when I got hired. We worked our butts off for 14 years to build that church up. It never really got above 500 people. Then Ray left. Father Mark did a really good job. He left. They had some priests who weren't nearly as dynamic. I left in 2014. They're probably going to close the parish in the next 5 years. The Catholic Church. It doesn't last. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. And that's okay. And through your life, one of the things when I started to work at St. Augustine that I learned, which was really nice, it's so good to not be self-employed and just get an effing paycheck.
Mhm.
That's one whole level of stress that left.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe you need to get a job. I don't know. But all we can do is say, okay, God, okay, Amma, tell me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say and keep me out of your way. But the truth is, today it sounds like you're taken care of. I don't know if that's useful. But over and over and over again, we've got to be willing to let go of any structural form. Is Silent Way going to stick around? Is it time for all my classes to end? I don't know. Could be. We just don't know. But the Holy Spirit will move as she wills. But what our minds do is project into the future. I'm not making enough money. How am I going to pay the rent in February of next year? You know, those kinds of thoughts. And in many ways, they're just not real. They're just not real. But be at peace. You're okay. Now, you have made the commitment to be a yogi. So what Amma's going to do, if you have an attachment and an identification, she's just going to rip it off. So if you have a deeply rooted fear of financial insecurity and you think my ego is necessary to make it all happen, she's going to take it away from you. Everything has to go. Did that make sense?
Mhm.
We go to the Lord naked. When a Swami or a Swamini takes Diksha, the ceremony is you walk into the river and you take off all your clothes. You're stark naked, which is a physical gesture of I have let go of everything. And you come out of the water and you head north towards Mount Kailash. And then your guru says, no, 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 you come here. You are now Swamini Beyondananda. And here's your orange rose. You have a new identity. Not that you've chosen, but the Lord has chosen. And I jokingly tell people, Natasha, God, it's not so much of a joke. God has led me through the world through my wallet. Because in the end, I have to pay the rent. It's not been given this one to live as an ascetic in a cave or to be connected with another institution or an ashram someplace. It's not what the Lord has given me. I've had jobs through the years. Some of the time I've been self-employed. But this is my fourth career. But agitation and fear is not going to help. But you may need to give up your attachment to what you do for work right now.
Well, I have given it up. I mean, I'm largely existing on, other people funding me and then some work. Because I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm like,
But maybe go try to find a job. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not smart enough. That's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
And sometimes we start a venture and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't think that's the situation in this case. I really don't. It's because I've let go of building it. If I were to build it, it would build into something. It's not that it's that action of building. It's.
Well, when financially you get desperate, then you'll take an action. That's what I have had to do.
It might be the case, yeah.
When I came back from when I got tossed out of the Chinmaya mission, I arrived back in the Bay Area. They did give me back some of my money. So I had $5,000. I didn't have a pot to boil water in. I had no possessions. I'd given them all away because I thought I was going to become a sannyasi.
Mm,
And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And one of the things, loving God was the most important thing in my life for decades. A very distant second was music. And I started to take voice lessons again from my old voice teacher. And he said, Jim, what you're paying for private lessons, you could get a music education at Cal State Hayward because he just gotten a job there.
mm,
That's the only reason I went back to school, which then turned into a 25-year career in music and education. It just kind of happened
mhm.
because I went with the flow. And then when I retired from music, it was in 2014, 11 years ago, I had the intuition that I wanted to give this work away before I died. I was 66. Because Swamiji had given me such a gift, but I didn't know whether or not it was going to work. My plan B was to move to West Palm, Florida, because I didn't think I could afford to live in the Bay Area. And a very generous friend said, no, you should keep teaching. And this person paid our rent for 3 years, which allowed Silent Way to get established. He just showed up. You never know. You never know, but you're going to be okay, dear. I promise you.
Mhm.
Another big thing I had to learn when I lost my sight. I thought everything was over. And the great lesson was I needed to learn to ask for help. Sounds like if you have friends who are helping you out, that may be one of the lessons you're learning.
Yeah, I've definitely learned to accept help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
work to be spiritually butch. I say.
Yeah, I feel like I've really gone full circle on that one. Yeah. Like fully accept it now. Okay.
And
Amazing.
haven't people shown up to help?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Alma has not abandoned you.
No,
in
I don't
any way,
feel
shape, or
abandoned.
form.
My attachment is really to the doing. I have the attachment to being of service in a big way. This is an.
Well, why don't you try being of service in a little way?
That's what I'm trying to do, but I still have this mindset of it's like it's the most obvious like attachment that I'm still.
So let it go.
I'm-
You know what to do.
I'm trying. It's like my worldly desire / my spiritual desires combined in one.
It's
You
your
know?
identity.
Yeah,
and it makes you think you're important.
It makes me feel like I have value.
Yeah, you have value if you were a quadriplegic.
Yeah,
If you were lying in a bed, not able to move a finger, literally, you'd still be a child of God.
yeah.
Okay.
I know. Thank
we'll
you.
quit it. No, I get it. I
I
get
keep
it. It's a
trying to
big
like
one.
hone in on like what is actually, I keep trying to get clearer.
So the thing to do is today, be of service.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It can be small little things.
yeah.
Usually is.
Mhm.
Just merely acknowledging the humanity of a homeless person is huge. I was talking with someone yesterday and I was just so thrilled. For some time, he'd been on a suicide prevention hotline. They got some training. You had suggested that for a friend of mine, remember?
Mhm.
He's already done it. He'd done it and I didn't even know it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The Trevor Project, I think it is. It's for young queer folk who are suicidal. The Suicide Prevention Hotline. What enormous service. Didn't pay him anything.
Mhm.
But we have to give up notions of grandiosity, notions that I'm going to do something significant and important in the world. That's karma. We don't get to choose that. That's karma. But it is our nature to work. The dharma of the body is karma. Arjuna was a general, but somebody was a puny foot soldier in the same army. And if God wants you to be an important person, that'll make itself clear. All right. We got about another 10 minutes. Let's go on.
Questioner. Where does it all lead me? Maharaj. When the mind is kept away from its preoccupations. Oh, sorry, I already read that.
Read it again.
Okay. When the mind is kept away from its preoccupations, it becomes quiet. If you do not disturb this quiet and stay in it, you find that it is permeated with a light and a love you have never known. And yet you recognize it at once as your own nature. Once you have passed through this experience, you will never be the same man again. The unruly mind may break its peace and obliterate its vision, but it is bound to return, provided the effort is sustained, until the day when all bonds are broken, delusions and attachments end, and life becomes supremely concentrated in the present. Questioner. What difference does it make? Maharaj. The mind is no more. There is only love and action. Questioner. How shall I recognize this state when I reach it? Maharaj. There will be no fear. Questioner. Surrounded by a world full of mysteries and dangers, How can I remain unafraid? Maharaj, your own little body too is full of mysteries and dangers, yet you are not afraid of it, for you take it as your own. What you do not know is that the entire universe is your body, and you need not be afraid of it. You may say that you have two bodies, the personal and the universal. The personal comes and goes. The universal is always with you. The entire creation is your universal body. You are so blinded by what is personal that you do not see the universal. This blindness will not end by itself. It must be undone skillfully and deliberately. When all illusions are understood and abandoned, you reach the error-free and perfect state in which all distinctions between the personal and the universal are no more. Questioner: I am a person and therefore limited in space and time. I occupy little space and last but a few moments. I cannot even conceive myself to be eternal and all-pervading. Maharaj: Nevertheless, you are. As you dive deep into yourself in search of your true nature, you will discover that only your body is small and only your memory is short, while the vast ocean of life is yours. Questioner: The very words I and universal are contradictory. One excludes the other. Maharaj: They don't. The sense of identity pervades the universal. Search, and you shall discover the universal person, who is yourself and infinitely more. Anyhow, begin by realizing that the world is in you, not you in the world. Questioner: How can it be? I am only a part of the world. How can the whole world be contained in the part, except by reflection, mirror-like? Maharaj: What you say is true. Your personal body is a part in which the whole is wonderfully reflected. But you also have a universal body. You cannot even say that you do not know it, because you see and experience it all the time. Only you call it the world and are afraid of it. Questioner: I feel that I know my little body, while the other I do not know, except through science. Questioner: Your little body is full of mysteries and wonders which you do not know. There also, science is your only guide. Both anatomy and astronomy describe you. Questioner: Even if I accept your doctrine of the universal body as a working theory, in what way can I test it, and of what use is it to me? Maharaj: Knowing yourself as the dweller in both of the bodies, you will disown nothing. All the universe will be your concern. Every living thing you will love and help most tenderly and wisely. There will be no clash of interests between you and others. All exploitation will cease absolutely. Your every action will be beneficial. Every movement will be a blessing. Questioner: It is all very tempting, but how am I to proceed to realize my universal being? Maharaj: You have two ways. You can give your heart and mind to self-discovery, or you can accept my words on trust and act accordingly. In other words, either you become totally self-concerned or totally unself-concerned. It is the word totally that is important. You must be extreme to reach the supreme.
Oh, I like that.
Questioner: How can I aspire to such heights, small and limited as I am? Maharaj: Realize yourself as the ocean of consciousness in which all happens. This is not difficult. A little attentiveness, close observation of oneself, and you will see that no event is outside of your consciousness. Questioner: the world is full of events which do not appear in my consciousness. Maharaj: even your body is full of events which do not appear in your consciousness. This does not prevent you from claiming your body to be your own. You know the world exactly as you know your body, through your senses. It is your mind that has separated the world outside your skin from the world inside and put them in opposition. This has created fear and hatred and all the miseries of living. Questioner: what I do not follow is what you say about going beyond consciousness. I understand the words, but I cannot visualize the experience. After all, you yourself have said that all experience is in consciousness. Maharaj: you're right. There can be no experience beyond consciousness. Yet there is the experience of just being. There is a state beyond consciousness which is not unconscious. Some call it superconsciousness, or pure consciousness, or supreme consciousness. It is pure awareness, free from the subject-object nexus. Questioner: I have studied theosophy, and I find nothing familiar in what you say. I admit that theosophy deals with manifestation only. It describes the universe and its inhabitants in great detail. It admits many levels of matter and corresponding levels of experience, but it does not seem to go beyond. What you say goes beyond all experience. If it is not experienceable, why talk about it at all? Maharaj: consciousness is intermittent, full of gaps, yet there is the continuity of identity. What is this sense of identity due to, if not something beyond consciousness? Questioner: if I am beyond the mind, how can I change myself? Maharaj: where is the need of changing anything? The mind is changing all the time anyhow. Look at your mind dispassionately. This is enough to calm it. When it is quiet, you can go beyond it. Do not keep it busy all the time. Stop it and just be. If you give it rest, it will settle down and recover its purity and strength. Constant thinking makes it decay.
Makes it what?
Decay.
Okay.
Questioner: if my true being is always with me, how is it that I am ignorant of it? Maharaj: because it is very subtle and your mind is gross, full of gross thoughts and feelings. Calm and clarify your mind, and you will know yourself as you are. Questioner: do I need the mind to know myself? Maharaj: you are beyond the mind, but you know with your mind. It is obvious that the extent, depth, and character of knowledge depend on what instrument you use. Improve your instrument, and your knowledge will improve. Questioner: to know perfectly, I need a perfect mind. Maharaj: a quiet mind is all you need. All else will happen rightly once your mind is quiet. As the sun on rising makes the world active, so does self-awareness affect changes in the mind. In the light of calm and steady self-awareness, inner energies wake up and work miracles without any effort on your part. Questioner: you mean to say that the greatest work is done by not working? Maharaj: exactly. Do understand that you are destined for enlightenment. Cooperate with your destiny. Don't go against it. Don't thwart it. Allow it to fulfill itself. All you have to do is give attention to the obstacles created by the foolish mind. That's the end of the chapter.
Fabulous place to stop. Any thoughts before we end? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.